it's Kayla, and today I wanted to do just a little update video. Just kind of wanted to chit chat with you guys since it's been a while. Just kind of wanted to give an update on my pregnancy and how things have been going, and just a couple things about what it's like being blind and pregnant. This will probably be the last video that I make pregnant before I have the baby, so that's exciting. So at the time of filming this, I am currently 35 weeks, so getting up there. It's getting to be almost time, and I think the last video I made, I think I was like 19 weeks, so it's been a while. So yeah, just wanted to update you guys. And if you can see, you may notice that I have a different filming space, and that is because my old filming space, which was in our guest bedroom, no longer exists because that room is now a nursery. So I don't know that this will be my new permanent filming spot. We're gonna have to do some problem solving to figure out where a good spot to film is from now on, because RIP to the old one. So the first thing I wanted to update on was in my video where I announced my pregnancy and was like just talking about how things were going. I had mentioned that it was difficult for me to feel connected to the baby for various reasons of, like infertility trauma, but also not being able to see the ultrasounds. And I mentioned that maybe that would change once I could start feeling her move. And so like right after recording that video, I started to feel her move, and things really changed from then. I started feeling very connected. The ultrasounds now are less sad. I don't feel left out of like, oh, they can see her and I can't because I can feel her. So I'm like, I know where her head is, and I know where her feet are, and I know when she's moving and kicking and what she's doing, and I know her movement patterns and like when she's asleep and when she's awake. And so that has definitely helped with the connectedness, and also probably just being like farther along and it starting to feel more real. It probably helps too. So yeah, I'm feeling a lot better in that aspect, getting really excited. Also update on how I've been feeling around that 20-week mark when I started to feel her move. Also, my nausea got a lot better. So that was good because that was really bringing me down. So I've been feeling better overall. Well, I have been, but now I'm kind of to the tail end where now I'm starting to not feel as good because I'm just uncomfortable. I'm big and my hips hurt, my back hurts, everything hurts. That's just kind of how it goes here towards the end. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm slightly out of breath because my lungs are all squished, but that's okay. It's not that bad. I've had people ask me like, am I miserable? And I definitely would not say miserable. I'd call it uncomfortable, but I definitely am not miserable, or it's not intolerable. So doing pretty good. As far as health-wise with the pregnancy, me and baby are doing pretty good. Baby is measuring a little bit on the small side, but I'm small, so it kind of makes sense. My doctors aren't really terribly concerned about it at this point, so just fingers crossed that it continues to be not concerning and just a thing. All babies come in all different shapes and sizes. And then other than that, I have been pretty healthy, other than I have gestational diabetes, which was a huge bummer to find that out. And it's been kind of frustrating to figure out what I can eat and what I can't eat, and the blood sugars being really, they fluctuate a lot. So it's just hard to nail down what spikes my blood sugar and what doesn't, because it's very inconsistent. But also blindness wise, that has been very inconvenient because I can't like read the package, like food packaging, to see like how much sugar does something have versus how much protein, how much fat, how much fiber. So I've been having to like ask Ethan to read those things to me, and I have to have Ethan take my blood sugar 4 times a day. I have to take it when I wake up, after 2 hours after breakfast, 2 hours after lunch, 2 hours after dinner. And so that is like pricking my finger with a needle, getting the drop of blood on a little test strip, putting the test strip in the machine, and then reading the machine. And so that's been a lot to have to bother him every couple of hours saying, I need to test my blood sugar. Luckily, we both work from home, so we're able to do that because we are like pretty much always in the same vicinity. There have been a couple times where we have not been, like he's been somewhere or I've been somewhere, and then I just kind of like skipped taking that number, which isn't ideal. And I know there's blind people out there who have diabetes, and I'm sure that there is a way to do it without sight. I just don't really know how, and it didn't seem worth the effort for that learning curve to figure it out when this is very temporary. I only have to do this for a few more weeks. But to me, it just like feels very visual because like when he pricks my finger, he has to look for the drop of blood and sometimes has to like squeeze the finger to make sure the drop of blood comes out, and then has to, get that tiny drop of blood in the right spot on the test strip. I also I can't read the monitor either, so I don't know how people without sight do that. Like I said, I'm sure there's a way. Maybe they do the continuous monitor. But like I said, that's just more of an investment than either one of us are really wanting to put into something that is so temporary. But if you have any tips of like how I could easily do this on my own, I would love to hear it. In other news, as far as talking about like pregnancy and blindness, something that I have noticed is I bump into things with my bump kind of often. I am just not used to accounting for how much space I take up. And I don't know if this is like specifically a blind thing or if this happens to all pregnant women. I assume if you're pregnant and sighted, like they have vision to see if they're about to bump into something with their bump, but I don't, and I'm just having trouble getting used to how far it sticks out. And so mainly it happens when I go to like wash my hands and I kind of reach over to the sink and I bump my bump on the counter, especially if I have like something on my hands and I need to rinse my hands, and so that I'm not using my hand eyes, my feelers to like feel around where the counter is, because I don't want to get whatever is on my hands all over the counter. So I've been kind of bumping into like counters or doorknobs with my bump. Nothing too hard. I don't think it's hurting either of us. But that is something I've been dealing with. And then another thing is when I drop something, which I'm not dropping things more often. I'm dropping things the regular amount of times, but when I drop something, I'm just like, oh, why? Because it is hard to bend over or crouch down on the ground to look for something. So typically if I would drop something, I would reach down and kind of like feel around on the ground until I find it. But now that is a lot more difficult, and I'm like, man, I wish I could drop something and just look down and spot exactly where it is and bend over and pick it up and not have to be, bent over or squatted on the ground feeling around for it. So that's been a little bothersome, but like I said, it's not something that just happens terribly often. Another kind of frustrating thing is, and I've talked before about this on my channel, but just how stressful and overwhelming it is to use a public bathroom when you are blind. And so typically I would just avoid them as much as possible and just hold it, and I would only go if I just like really, really had to. And now that I'm pregnant, that is a lot more difficult to do. So I've had a lot more experiences with public bathrooms, which again, it's just a stressful experience. And then as far as just getting ready for the baby to come, there has been so much to do. We've been so busy. It's just been like an endless to-do list. I feel like every time I mark something off, I'm adding 3 more things to the list. And what's been difficult about that blindness wise is we haven't really been able to divide and conquer. It's kind of everything has been either a team effort or Ethan's just had to do it, or we've gotten like my parents to help with a couple things. So things like putting together furniture, I can't do that. I don't know, Ethan had to like patch a hole in the wall and paint over it and, you know, things like that to get the nursery ready. He was like putting up some shelves in the closet, just like a bunch of things that I can't do. And even organizing the nursery, like I don't know what size the clothes are when they're just all in a pile and we haven't organized them yet. So it's been a lot of things where we've had to do teamwork, or it's been on Ethan, and it's kind of been frustrating because I'm like sitting here looking at this to-do list thinking there's so much to do, but none of these things I can really do by myself, because I think, you know, as a blind person, speaking for myself, but this is probably true for a lot of people, I am the most independent when things are like familiar or routine. There are things that I have like learned and remember how to do and remember how it goes, and, you know, get used to patterns and what's the word I'm looking for? Muscle memory and all that kind of things. But when you have all this list of things to do that are not in your norm, these are new things that we haven't done before, or we're dealing with new stuff, I feel a lot less independent. And so that has been frustrating. So, you know, like we're organizing the nursery. So we just have like a pile of stuff that we've gotten from our baby showers that I don't know what things are. And so we're having to go through them one by one for Ethan to tell me like what this thing is and what this thing is and what this thing is. And I'm having to like touch them and then feel them so I know what they are, put them in a place where I know like, okay, this is all of the bath stuff, and this is all of my postpartum stuff, and this is all, you know, diaper stuff that I've had to have Ethan help me sort and learn what's what. It's a lot of stuff to keep up with, so that's overwhelming. And then organizing the clothes, you know, it's just a giant pile of clothes that we wash that, you know, pulling them out of the wash, I don't know what size anything is, so he's had to sort, okay, these are the newborns, these are the 0 to 3 months. And then once he's sorted them, I'm like, okay, so I've folded them, we've got a newborn drawer, we've got a 0 to 3 month drawer, I've got them in different piles of onesies versus sleepers. But I needed help to do that because, you know, when you have all this brand new stuff that I'm not familiar with yet, I don't know what anything is until I have to learn it. And so that's been a process. I'm still a little overwhelmed because there's just a lot of stuff for me to keep up with and to remember what's what and what's where. So, I mean, it has been a lot. I think we're getting close to the finish line. We've gotten a lot of stuff done. But like I said, I felt just kind of a little useless. Like I just haven't been able to do enough. Ethan's also had to, you know, he runs all the errands, and because I can't drive, and he put up the decorations in the nursery, which is something else that I couldn't do. And when we were, I think I talked about this a little bit in my pregnancy announcement video too, of doing the registry was really difficult because I feel like it is very visual to look at the products to kind of understand what they are and how they work. And so that was also something that I couldn't do on my own. That took up a lot of time. So yeah, it's just, I feel bad because I feel like it's been a lot on Ethan, but I think hopefully when the baby gets here and I'm not like, oh, getting ready for the baby is the hard part, and when the baby gets here, it'll be easier. Like I don't actually think that. I know that the baby will be a lot of work, but I think it's a lot more routine. Like I will be able to learn how to do things and find my groove, and then be able to be more independent as that becomes more routine. Now, on the topic of, what we got from our baby shower, just a brief update, because in my last video I had mentioned that I wasn't sure what I wanted to do about gifts and cards. So what we ended up doing is on the baby shower invitations, we did just put like, no cards, please. That was it. And I think we got maybe like 1 or 2 cards. Most people didn't get us a card. So yeah, didn't have to worry about cards. So that was nice and saved everyone a little bit of money and saved the planet quite a bit of paper. So that worked out well. As far as gifts went, because me and Ethan were both at the shower and we were opening gifts together, we decided to just open the gifts at the shower and for Ethan to describe them to me. But I did tell him to do like very simple, quick descriptions so that it didn't take forever. And so when I would open something, he would just say, oh, it's bottles. Oh, that's a floral onesie. Oh, that's pacifiers or whatever. And so didn't get into, oh, this is this brand, or really like fully describing every single outfit. Like you can just say floral onesie. That was enough. I didn't need like a full detailed description for everything while we were trying to open gifts quickly. So that worked out pretty well. And especially when things were bought off of our registry, it was a lot easier because it was like, oh, it's the playmat that we registered for. Okay, well, I already know what that is, so it doesn't even need a description. Or like, that's the bouncer that we registered for. And so that made it easier too. There was a lot less description needed. So I think it worked out well, and had a good time at our baby showers. So I think the most stressful thing for me so far for getting ready for the baby was car seat and stroller shopping, trying to find a car seat and stroller that worked well. So I had a lot of stipulations that I was looking for, like comfortably being able to pull the stroller behind me while using a cane. That was important. Having a car seat that was easy to get out in and out of other cars without the base. So if I were to take an Uber or like go somewhere with a friend or my parents or something, being able to use that car seat rather than just like in our car with the base. And so those were kind of like blindness related. Oh, and also being able to get the car seat easily into the stroller, which you wouldn't think would be that difficult, but there were a lot of travel systems that we tried out that I could not get the seat lined up in the stroller to like get it to click in there right. And so, and I would be trying to do it and being frustrated, and Ethan would be like, oh, you're crooked or it's tilted. And like, I can't tell. Like, that's something very visual if it's just like slightly crooked or tilted. But it was something that I couldn't tell, and I couldn't use my hands to feel where I was placing it in the strollers because I was holding the seat with my hands, and it was really difficult, and I was getting very frustrated with looking at car seats and strollers to try to find one that I could easily use. So those were like the blindness aspect of it. And then there was a whole nother aspect of it, which is that I am petite, and there were a lot of car seats and strollers that I could not even pick up. And so I would be like, how am I supposed to use this? How am I supposed to go anywhere independently if I can't even pick up this stroller, or if I can barely pick up this car seat and there's not even a baby in it? And so then I'm like picturing, okay, how am I supposed to, get into an Uber and I've got like a baby and car seat and stroller and trying to juggle all these things, and I can barely pick them up because they're too heavy, and it was very overwhelming. We looked at, I don't even know how many strollers and car seats, and went back and forth on it forever. And then so we did end up, I want to make a whole video on like stroller and car seat once I actually start using it, which I haven't yet because we don't have a baby yet. But we did end up getting, Nuna is the brand. We got a Pippa RX car seat, and then I think the Tavo stroller, and those are pricey. It's an expensive stroller and car seat, but it was the only one that was easy for me to reliably get the seat into the stroller every time without wobbling it all over the place and not getting it right and getting frustrated. And also the car seat's really lightweight. The stroller is pretty lightweight and folds up well. So I'm pretty happy with what we ended up with at the end. I hope it'll work good. Like I said, we haven't really used it, so I don't quite know exactly yet. But it was a very stressful process. So yeah, that was one thing that I think has been the most stressful thing so far, and that just like sighted people probably wouldn't think of it being difficult to line the seat up with the stroller to like get it in there exactly right so that it clicks in and it's safe. And I do worry a little bit about trying to install the car seat into cars by myself. Hopefully it's something that I can figure out, and like I said, learn it and get the groove of it and be able to do it, but it's something I am concerned about. Another thing I'm concerned about is keeping up with clothes. Like I said, I organized everything into size. So I've got my newborn drawer, my 0 to 3 month drawer, so like I know what size clothes are, but I don't really know what the clothes look like. And so you know, trying to match clothes is gonna be difficult. And you know, we're having a girl and I want her to be cute and wear like bows with her outfits, but then that's stressful because that's just, well, if I want her to wear a bow, that's one more thing that I'm gonna have to try to match or keep up with. And so I think there's definitely gonna be some figuring out to do with finding a system for dressing, or I could try and let go of that a little bit and just say, she's just gonna wear just a sleeper or just a onesie and not worry about matching. Good thing she is due in the summer, so she could probably stand to be in just onesies for the first 3 months, and I won't even have to match any pants or socks. So, but you know, definitely want to make a video about that when I actually get into it. Like I said, I have a lot of ideas for videos that I want to make once I actually start doing these things. So then hopefully I can come to you guys with tips or things that I've figured out rather than just saying, I don't know what I'm going to do about this and it's stressful. So anyways, I guess that's all I had to say today. Hopefully this video wasn't too rambly, and it was good to see you guys and sit down and make one more video before I officially become a mom. So I will see you next time, possibly, probably with a baby. So yeah, that's exciting. See you then.